Which brings us to Scooter Braun.
Yeah.
Oh, Grammy Award-winning artist, Ariana Grande.
Scooter Braun. It's a name you've probably seen floating around.
Scooter Braun thinks it's time to move on from the feud with Taylor Swift.
No more Scooter, no more Justin, no more label.
It is beginning to become more and more apparent that Scooter Braun believes that he is going to be riding off into the sunset with an untarnished legacy as the music industry and the entertainment industry crumbles before our eyes. As if Scooter Braun did not single-handedly contribute to the harm that is harbored within this industry. But this does not shock me, because people like Scooter Braun, people who are ego-driven, greedy, and spineless, typically believe that they are above reproach and cannot be accountable for fallout that they cause. The fact that Scooter Braun even had the audacity to ever show his face again after what happened between him and Taylor Swift, which we will get into shortly, it really shows you who Scooter is at his core. With that being said, today I want to do a full in-depth deep dive into Scooter Braun, because he's a slippery one that likes to hide in the shadows of bigger figures' scandals to minimize the impact of his own horrible behaviors. It's interesting because it feels like Scooter craves attention, but at the same time does not want the spotlight directly on him and does not want people in the public analyzing his very glaring flaws. So when we think of the name Scooter Braun, right off the bat, I think the first thing that comes to mind is the man who was Justin Bieber's manager and the scandal that happened between he and Taylor Swift and her masters, that whole situation. But it honestly goes so much deeper than either of those situations. As always, let's go back to the very beginning. Scott Samuel Braun, better known as Scooter Braun, was born on June 18th of 1981 in New York City to parents Irvin and Susan Braun. Scooter was born into a very tight-knit conservative Jewish family. Scooter's father worked as a dentist and his mother worked as an orthodontist. The couple would go on to have 3 biological children together, Scooter and his brother and his sister, and then they would go on to later adopt 2 boys from Africa as well. Scooter would attend Greenwich High School, where he was very well liked by his peers. He was very popular, and throughout high school, Scooter was even elected class president 3 years in a row. After graduating from high school, Scooter would move from Connecticut to Georgia, where he would attend Emory University in Atlanta. In college, Scooter joined the basketball team and he began to regularly attend parties with his fellow teammates. Scooter quickly became more passionate about partying and the nightlife scene than he was about his actual studies, and I imagine he faced somewhat of a culture shock going from a very conservative Jewish family in Connecticut to a very different lifestyle in Atlanta. Scooter began to love the nightlife scene so much, he began to take it upon himself to begin planning and throwing college parties. These parties quickly became very popular and would attract droves of students to attend. Scooter quickly made a name for himself as the man at Emory University who knew how to throw a damn good party. During this time, Scooter also began to become very crafty at creating and selling fake IDs, and he created a very lucrative fake ID business, which was very valuable to his peers. Now, keep in mind, Scooter at this time is in Atlanta, and this is the early 2000s. Atlanta in the early 2000s has been the reference point for so many deep dives that we've done over here on this page. The Corey Gamble deep dive, for example. We know Corey Gamble got very connected with people like Ludacris, Snoop Dogg, Scooter Braun, all of these people in the early 2000s in Atlanta. Scooter's college parties were so massive and so successful that they soon began to catch the attention of many different Atlanta rappers. Some of these rappers include Ludacris and Lil Jon, and speaking of Lil Jon, it's kind of funny because in an interview that Lil Jon did back in the early 2000s, he called Scooter Braun the white Puff Daddy. And while in the early 2000s that may have been a compliment, but 20 years later, that seems more like defamation. During Scooter's junior year of college, he made the decision to drop out of school and pursue party planning and event organizing as a career, a pursuit that he would find a lot of success in very quickly. In 2002, Scooter Braun was hired by Anger Management Tour. Scooter was hired to plan and promote parties, as well as organizing after parties that would take place after a performance that fans could also attend. Through this role, Scooter was introduced to many many other artists in the industry, including Jermaine Dupri, who at the time was dating Janet Jackson. Jermaine Dupri is the founder of So So Def Records, which is a label that has managed and signed artists including Bow Wow, Usher, TLC, Criss Cross, just to name a few. Jermaine Dupri was not only impressed with Scooter's ability to throw a party, but his ability to draw in a crowd. So Jermaine Dupri made the decision to hire Scooter Braun to work at So So Def Records to be the executive director of their marketing. Before he knew it, Scooter was planning parties for some of the biggest stars in the industry. His first big gig at So So Def Records was planning and organizing and promoting the after parties for the 2003 NBA All-Star Game. And then a year after that, in 2004, Scooter Braun was given the responsibility of planning the after parties that would take place throughout Britney Spears' Onyx Hotel tour. In 2005, Scooter Braun moved on from So So Def Records, and he independently helped his friend Ludacris land a $12 million deal with the car manufacturer Pontiac. This deal single-handedly put Scooter on the map as a closer, someone who could secure the top dollar for his friends, his clients, or people who he had a connection with. And with that, Scooter began to try to carve out his niche in the industry and make himself someone who was valuable to all of these massive celebrities. Because of Scooter's connections with different athletes and celebrities, he was able to catch the attention of the Atlanta Hawks, who hired him to work as their entertainment consultant, a position that he would hold for a few years. But in 2007, Scooter decided that he was ready to really capitalize off of his own ability to be able to draw in a crowd. So he decided to start his own entertainment company called SB Projects, or Scooter Braun Projects. Scooter's idea was that he would scout out new potential talent of any kind, sign them underneath him, and be able to push them into the spotlight by promoting them, something that he had shown that he was very capable of. Within a year of Scooter beginning Scooter Braun Projects, he would have what he believed to be his big break. After a night at the club with his A-list and B-list friends, Scooter went home and began surfing YouTube when he accidentally stumbled across 13-year-old Justin Bieber singing a cover on YouTube.
Can't come to the phone, and I know it makes no sense, 'cause you walked out the door. I need you, boo. I gotta see you, boo. And those hearts all over the world tonight. Tell those hearts all over the world tonight.
In my mind, I imagine at this moment, Scooter Braun connected with his inner Scrooge McDuck. And once he saw this talented kid, he just began to see dollar signs in his eyes and saw Justin Bieber as a figure that he could exploit and make a name for himself in the industry by trying to make this kid famous. So without wasting a moment of time, Scooter Braun reached out to Justin Bieber's mother, Patty Millette, and urged her to bring Justin Bieber to Atlanta so that he could record a few demos and meet some other figures in the industry, including Usher and Justin Timberlake. Patty did agree to bring her teenage son to Atlanta, and once Scooter was able to see Justin Bieber's talent in person, he was completely intoxicated at Justin's vocal ability. Somehow, Scooter was able to convince Justin Bieber's mother, Patty, to move her and her son from Canada to Atlanta so that Justin Bieber could become a star. Justin's mother was very reluctant to do this for many reasons, I imagine. Publicly, she has stated that she was very concerned about this partnership because Scooter's values do not align with their Christian values, the Christian values that she raised Justin Bieber with, as Scooter was a practicing member of the Jewish religion. Patty wanted her son to become a star, but she would much rather him sign with a Christian label. According to Patty, after praying diligently and talking with her church leaders, she made the decision to move her son and herself from Canada to Atlanta to allow Scooter Braun to be her son's manager and turn her son into a pop star. After hearing his demos, Scooter, Usher, and even Justin Timberlake were all desperate to be able to work with Justin Bieber or sign Justin Bieber in some way. But ultimately, Scooter secured Justin a contract with Raymond Braun Media Group, a media group that Usher and Scooter had quietly created together. And as we know, Usher really took Justin Bieber under his wing as he entered the industry. During the beginning of Justin Bieber's career, Usher was constantly collaborating with him, coming out of his concerts. He was very present in Justin Bieber's career. Usher Usher was even the figure who introduced Justin to L.A. Reid, a former Arista Records executive who was responsible for signing Usher when he was just 14 years old. This introduction opened doors that allowed Justin Bieber to then be offered a contract through the Island Def Jam Media Group. This new contract split Justin's profits evenly between the Island Def Jam Media Group and the Raymond Braun Media Group. Part of Justin Bieber's contract included that he would be provided a private tutor so that he could finish his high school education as he became the pop star sensation of our generation. And try to just imagine like the culture shock that Justin Bieber went through. He just uploaded a video onto YouTube, and then within a couple of years, he has moved to a different country. He is given an entirely different lifestyle. He has his childhood virtually stripped away from him and begins working long and grueling hours, rehearsing, recording, literally working as a full-time touring artist at 14 years old to strip away a teenager's childhood, the only childhood that they are ever given, and turn them into a cash cow who's working 12 to 14 hours a day on top of trying to maintain an education. Realistically, there is no way that a child can consent to being thrust into the spotlight. There's no way a child can understand or even fathom the potential consequences of having the entire world looking at them under a microscope. And while we as the public have been very fortunate to be able to listen to Justin Bieber's music that he shared with the world, at what cost did that come to him? Because while his music is a staple for us in our youth, imagine how much Justin had to give away of his youth to be able to provide us those core memories. Was it actually worth it? He's a father himself. I will be very curious to see how he conducts himself with his child in the spotlight, and I think it'll be very telling. If we see Justin going above and beyond to shield his child from the public, I think we're going to understand that he is protecting his child the way he was not protected. But anyways, in 2009, Justin Bieber's first hit single, One Time, released, and this was really Justin's big break. But in November of 2009, Scooter would prove right off the bat that he was not quite as capable or educated in artist management as he thought he was after a fiasco ensued in Roosevelt Field Mall in Long Island. Justin was scheduled to sign autographs for his fans at the Roosevelt Field Mall, and over 3,000 fans, primarily teen girls, showed up to meet Justin. The local police were not happy about the situation at all, as it had not been cleared with them first. There was no kind of security, there was no kind of measures taken. Before Justin Bieber even arrived, local police got into contact with Scooter and told him he needed to cancel the event immediately. They warned Scooter, do not bring Justin Bieber here. This event is already completely out of control and we need everyone to leave. Police even go over Scooter's head directly to the senior vice president of sales at Island Def Jam named James Rappo. They told James Rappo that Island Def Jam needed to release a statement immediately stating that the event was canceled and telling everyone to go home. Executives at Island Def Jam and local police continuously and repeatedly tried to contact Scooter Braun to get him to release a statement on Justin Bieber's social media, but these demands and requests went ignored by Scooter Braun. So local police and executives at Island Def Jam repeatedly contacted Scooter Braun trying to get him to release a statement canceling this event, telling the crowd to clear out, but Scooter Braun refused. Scooter did not take the situation seriously at all. Instead of canceling the event, Scooter just responded to the police asking them to spell his name correctly on his arrest warrant. Clearly being flippant, clearly thinking that he is above the police department and has every right to endanger Justin Bieber's fans at this unprepared venue. After hours of back and forth, Scooter did eventually get onto Justin Bieber's social media and release a statement stating that the event would no longer be taking place. And if you're wondering why Island Def Jam executives didn't just go onto Justin's social media and do this themselves, only Justin and Scooter Braun had access to Justin Bieber's social medias. Unfortunately, by the time that Scooter released a statement stating that the event was canceled, 5 of Justin Bieber's young fans had already been injured by the out-of-control crowd. Executive James Rappo was even held responsible for this situation and was arrested for his involvement in allowing this event to happen. Scooter was also held liable for this situation, and a few months after this took place, he was also arrested on charges of criminal nuisance, reckless endangerment, and endangering the welfare of a child. Scooter was facing a year in prison, but of course he was able to hire expensive lawyers who got him right right out of that situation. Totally mismanaged the situation, and if you are going to be the manager for one of the biggest pop stars in the world, you have to be able to conduct yourselves professionally. One notably unprofessional thing that Scooter Braun used to do when he was Justin Bieber's manager was he would often utilize the website that Ashton Kutcher and P. Diddy created, TinyChat, to have video chat conferences with Justin Bieber's young fans, or the Beliebers, who were typically preteens and teenagers. Scooter would have these spontaneous video chats with the Beliebers to inform them of upcoming shows, meet and greets, or after parties that they could attend. And I actually learned this information when I was looking through MTV's Internet Archives, and I found this article that was taken down talking about how it was kind of creepy that Scooter Braun, a man who was approaching his 30s, was often spending evenings in video chats with his clients' preteen and teenage fans. The same way that I've criticized P. Diddy, Ashton Kutcher, and Demi Moore for utilizing a space like TinyChat to have face-to-face conversations with their very young fans, I have that exact same criticism for Scooter Braun as well. It's just simply not appropriate. As time would go on, Scooter Braun would continue to put Justin Bieber into situations that a teenage boy should not be exposed to. Nightclubs, parties, after parties, older women. And I mentioned this in a video not too long ago, but even when Scooter Braun first started working with Justin Bieber, he had flown Justin Bieber out to Atlanta for a Halloween party when he was just 15 years old, and he set up Carrie Hilson, who was 26 years old at the time, to be his date for the night. In hindsight, looking back at the relationship, the partnership between Scooter Braun and Justin Bieber, I think it's very apparent that Scooter Braun never really had Justin Bieber's best intention in mind. Because if you are going to step into the role of being one of the most influential figures in a young boy's life and refuse to afford them any kind of protection or moral compass, then in reality, you're only there to exploit that individual. After Scooter's big break with Justin, he really became famous in his own regard simply because he was the one who discovered Justin Bieber and made him a star. So he started to become a very sought after individual for young upcoming artists trying to get their big break into the industry, which would go on to result in Scooter creating Carly Rae Jepsen, who created Call Me Maybe, or Psy, who created Gangnam Style. But Scooter did also help assist in the careers of other artists, for example, Tori Kelly or Cody Simpson. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time discussing every single company Scooter Braun has invested in or created, or the labels he's attached to, because we will literally be here all day. I just want to talk about the relevant companies and the relevant labels that are involved in the scandals surrounding Scooter Braun. So at this point, the companies that we are aware of that Scooter Braun has created are Scooter Braun Projects, which is its own entertainment company, and we also know that he started a label alongside Usher, Raymond Braun Media Group. There is one other company that Scooter created that is extremely important in this deep dive, and that company was created in 2010 by Scooter Braun, and that company is called Ithaca Holdings. And Ithaca Holdings, to my understanding, was like this umbrella company that all of Scooter Braun's other ventures fell underneath. All the other companies he created, Scooter Braun Projects, etc., fell underneath the umbrella of Ithaca Holdings. I just want you to pin that in the back of your mind as we go through this next section of this deep dive. So at this point in the timeline, we are in a new decade. We are in the 2010s. Scooter's list of clientele began to grow, and he began managing artists such as Kanye West, Ariana Grande, the Black Eyed Peas, Demi Lovato, Lil Dicky, Kelly Rowland, David Guetta, just to name a few. And honestly, Scooter Braun's professional and personal relationship with Kanye West is what would lead him to one of the biggest scandals of his career. While this has been a fairly surface level deep dive into Scooter Braun's background, I did want to give you guys kind of the timeline of how he rose to success before we dove into his numerous scandals and problematic behaviors. I will not be talking about these scandals that he was involved in really any particular order. The one that I do want to start with is his scandal involving Taylor Swift, because I think it was one of the most devastating to his career. The infamous dirty deal that shook the music industry. So, on June 30th of 2019, Scooter Braun's umbrella company, Ithaca Holdings, purchased the label Big Machine Records, which was originally founded by a former DreamWorks record executive named Scott Borchetta and country musician Toby Keith back in 2005. Scooter purchased the Big Machine label for a total of $330 million. And this purchase did not only include Scooter having full control over the label, but it also included the artists who were already signed to the label as well. So in a nutshell, Scooter not only purchased a massively successful label, he also virtually owned the artists who were contractually signed to Big Machine before the purchase was made. For the artists who did not own their publishing rights, those publishing rights were now owned by Scooter Braun. It was a disgusting and slimy deal, technically not an illegal deal, but a very unethical deal that harmed a lot of artists financially and creatively. And there are so many talentless leeches in the music industry like Scooter Braun, so he honestly probably thought that he could do this slimy deal, line his pockets, and continue to climb the music executive ladder without any issues. Unfortunately for him, that did not happen. Taylor Swift shared publicly on social media what was actually going on behind the scenes of this deal, and the fact that this purchase of Big Machine Records made by Scooter Braun actually included the masters to her first 6 albums, virtually the entirety of her discography. In her post, Taylor explained very candidly that she had been trying to purchase her masters for years, but was not given the opportunity to purchase them by Big Machine Records unless she signed another years-long contract with them. Keeping in mind that in 2018, the year before, Taylor Swift had left Big Machine Records and signed a new contract with Republic Records. But behind her back, Big Machine and Scooter Braun were actively cooking up a deal that would go into action the moment that Taylor left Big Machine to ensure that both Big Machine and Scooter Braun could make as much money off of Taylor Swift as possible. Within a year of Taylor signing with Republic Records, the deal was done, and just like that, Scooter Braun virtually owned Taylor Swift's life work, other than her 2019 album Lover that was released under Republic Records. And let's remember that Taylor Swift debuted in 2006, so within an instant, 13 years of her work belonged to a man who had no hand in her success. Even when we go back to the VMA Awards, when Scooter's client Kanye West tried to take her VMA award from her on live television, and at the end of the day, Taylor did not deserve to be humiliated like that. And not to dive into the Kim and Kanye of it all, but I do think it is very important that we recognize how much influence Scooter Braun had in the character assassination of Taylor Swift during the whole dispute with Kanye West's famous music video in 2016. We remember this music video depicted Kanye in bed with multiple nude individuals that are all well-known celebrities, one of them being Taylor Swift. Kanye called up Taylor and asked her if this was something that she would be okay with. She did not agree to it, keeping in mind at this time Taylor Swift was also dealing with an ongoing court case as she was actively seeking justice and accountability from the DJ who SA'd her.
Jury decided the former radio DJ David Mueller did grab Swift's backside during a meet and greet in 2013. That moment, she says, was captured here in this photo.
A case that she would go on to win. At the time that this phone call was recorded of Kanye calling Taylor and asking her permission to use this, it is alleged that Scooter Braun was the brains behind the idea to film Kanye asking Taylor's permission. And when they did not get the response that they wanted from Taylor, they simply decided to cut and edit the phone call so it appeared as though Taylor had agreed. After this video was released, Taylor Swift publicly objected, and of course Kim and Kanye and Scooter Braun tried to have a gotcha moment by releasing this edited phone call to frame the situation as if Taylor Swift was this perpetual victim who had given Kanye permission to do this with her image and then was acting like a victim, crying about it on social media when it was actually released.
All my Southside that know me best, I feel like me and Taylor might still have. I think this is a really cool thing to have.
I know, definitely. It's like a compliment kind of either way. And I really appreciate you telling me about it. That's really nice.
I mean, thanks for being like so cool about it.
Just really appreciate it. I'm always going to respect you. And I'm really glad that you have the respect to call me and tell me that as a friend about the song. And
It has a very controversial line at the beginning of the song about you.
what does it say?
The original way that I thought about it is the best way, but it's the most controversial way. So it's gonna go Eminem a little bit. So can you brace yourself for a second?
Yeah.
It says, wait a second, you sound sad.
Well, is it going to be mean?
No, I don't think it's mean.
Okay, then let me hear it.
Okay. It says, to all my Southside that know me best, I feel like Taylor Swift might owe me sex.
That's not mean.
I think that people would be like way into it. And that's why I think it's super genius to have you be the one that says, oh, I like this song a lot. Like, yeah, whatever, you know, this is cool.
I mean, I need to think about it because I just need to, like, you hear some things for the first time and you need to think about it.
Kanye's famous music video was released in 2016. Taylor Swift really dragged on social media until she ultimately spoke out about the whole situation publicly and told her truth. Because so many people believe the narrative that Kim, Kanye, and Scooter had so meticulously framed as reality when it was not that at all. And Taylor wasn't just getting dragged from Kim and Kanye fans. She was getting dragged by other celebrities as well. Even Scooter's client Justin Bieber went as far as to antagonize Taylor Swift on social media. Keeping in mind that especially during this time, Justin Bieber was still at the height of his success and his fans were visceral. Between Kim, Kanye, Scooter, Justin Bieber, all of the fan bases, it actually kind of makes perfect sense to me why these Swifties become so overprotective of Taylor Swift. Now, do I condone the way the Swifties act when someone has a fair criticism of Taylor Swift? Absolutely not. Some of y'all seriously need to get help. But as a whole, I get it. Anyway, we're back on the Masters, okay? I'm sorry, I kind of took you down a rabbit hole there. We're back on the Masters. So after Scooter Braun, Ithaca Holdings purchased Taylor Swift's entire discography, Scooter Braun went as far as to not allow Taylor Swift to perform her own music at her shows, concerts, anywhere. And that is when Taylor Swift made the decision to take matters into her own hands. And Taylor Swift made the announcement that she would be re-recording and re-releasing all 6 of her albums that Scooter Braun owned the rights to, that he was no longer giving her permission to perform. This would create new masters of her original songs, meaning that Scooter Braun was not going to make the money that he intended to make off of her for as long as he could anymore. After Taylor Swift announced that she would simply be re-recording all of her music, Scooter quickly realized that the perceived golden egg that he had been holding onto would soon not be worth more than a lump of coal if he did not get it off his hands soon. In October of 2020, Scooter Braun offered to sell Taylor Swift's masters directly to her, but in order for this deal to go through, Taylor Swift would have to sign an NDA that would not allow her to say anything but positive remarks about Scooter Braun. Taylor declined to make this deal and she moved forward with re-recording her old music. Scooter then sold Taylor Swift's masters, the music videos associated with the songs, and all associated artwork to Shamrock Holdings, which is a private equity firm owned by Disney, and he sold all of this to them for a total of $405 million. Making this deal, Scooter Braun allegedly assured Shamrock Holdings that Taylor Swift stating that she was going to re-record her music was nothing more than an empty threat. The following year, Scooter Braun continued to antagonize Taylor Swift. He would say that Taylor Swift was just bluffing, she was not going to re-record her old music and was going to come to an agreement. It would even go as far as Marty Singer, the attorney for both Scooter Braun and the Kardashian camp, would make public comments disparaging Taylor Swift and her team. Mass majority of artists in the industry supported and stood by Taylor Swift for making this decision and began to speak up, voicing that it was time for reform in the music industry and advocating that artists should be able to own the music that they are creating. Kelly Clarkson, Cher, Selena Gomez, Halsey, Sarah Bareilles all stood up in solidarity supporting Taylor Swift. There were other people who did stand in solidarity with Scooter Braun, including the singer Sia. Sia spoke out publicly during this entire fiasco, stating that Scooter Braun was a good man despite all of the chaos that he had caused. I actually have a deep dive on Sia that is sitting in my drafts that I need to edit and post for you guys. Unfortunately, Sia was not the only person to very loudly and proudly support Scooter Braun throughout this time. Scooter Braun's now ex-wife even publicly went for Taylor's jugular, calling her all kinds of things, including a bully. Clients that were actively represented by Scooter Braun really took his side, which is not surprising. We saw Justin Bieber very loudly take up for Scooter Braun. We've seen Demi Lovato support Scooter Braun during this time. Justin, for example, even took things as far as to address and call out Taylor Swift publicly on social media for sending hate towards Scooter after she shared what was going on behind the scenes. Justin Bieber's wife, Hailey Bieber, also echoed her husband's support of Scooter Braun, stating that Scooter Braun was a gentleman. Now, there are, of course, so many more details that went into the entire situation surrounding Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun. I do really want to keep this dive focused on Scooter Braun, so we're just going to leave it at that. Hopefully you have a fairly good grasp on the situation. Hopefully I explained it in somewhat of a cohesive manner. Now I want to talk about the mass exodus of Scooter Braun's clients and how they have all basically mysteriously deserted him in the same year. So in April of 2021, Scooter Braun sold his umbrella company, Ithaca Holdings, which had many other companies and labels beneath it, to the South Korean entertainment company HYBE Corporation. The entertainment company who has multiple different massively successful K-pop artists signed to them, including BTS and 17. This deal was valued at nearly $1 billion, and HYBE Corporation would then virtually own not only Ithaca, but everything that fell underneath Ithaca as well. This included the contracted artists who were signed underneath Scooter Braun, the labels attached to him, etc. Some of the artists impacted by Scooter Braun making this deal were Ariana Grande, Demi Lovato, Justin Bieber, to name a few. After making this life-changing deal, Scooter would then join the board of HYBE, and he would also be offered the CEO position of HYBE America, which was basically the United States sect of this South Korean company. Not long after Scooter made this deal with HYBE America, we started to see the mass exodus begin. Reports of a rift between Justin Bieber and Scooter began to arise around 2022, and by summer of 2023, Justin and Scooter had parted ways. Despite the fact that Justin Bieber is still under contract until 2027, he is no longer directly working with Scooter Braun. At the same time that Justin parted ways with Scooter, he also parted ways with his business manager, Lou Taylor, who is notoriously known for being Britney Spears' very controversial business manager as well. As for Ariana Grande, it appeared that Scooter and Ariana had a rocky relationship kind of from the beginning. Ariana Grande hired Scooter Braun to be her manager in 2013, and in early 2016, Ariana Grande fired Scooter Braun after it was reported that Scooter Braun did not approve of her relationship with Mac Miller. It was reported that Scooter began to negatively interfere with her relationship and she had had enough, but in late 2016, she did rehire him. In 2023, when Justin Bieber also parted ways with Scooter, she did the same. But this time it is reported that Scooter Braun was fired by Ariana Grande because he did not step up during the PR crisis that was going on during the end of her marriage with Dalton Gomez and the beginning of her relationship with Ethan Slater. Ariana had personally requested that her manager Scooter fly out to New York so that they could discuss PR strategy as a team, but Scooter, who was on vacation, decided that he would much rather stay on vacation and would not be returning to help his client work out a crisis. Their artists like Demi Lovato and Idina Menzel have not shared why they split ways with Scooter Braun, but it was reportedly a mutual decision. Other artists that Scooter managed, including the Black Eyed Peas, Lil Dicky, Tori Kelly, Zac Brown Band, and the Kid Laroi, all remained signed with Scooter until he ultimately announced that he was retiring from management in late 2023. And I don't know what happened really behind the scenes. The timing of this was so strange. I don't know if these artists were informed that Scooter would be retiring. I don't know if there was something that went on behind the scenes where all these artists got together and decided to leave together. But part of me wants to believe that Scooter was so embarrassed that all his A-list clients were leaving him, he had no choice but to retire. Before Scooter would be cut off from basically every single one of his A-list clients, someone else, a lot closer to him, would also cut ties. Yael Cohen, Scooter Braun's now ex-wife, is a South African-born activist who started the foundation F Cancer. Yael began dating Scooter in 2013 and they were married in the summer of 2014. The couple would go on to have 3 children together, but unfortunately their relationship would go very wrong throughout the chaos that Scooter caused with the Taylor Swift situation. Scooter filed for divorce from his wife in 2021 after rumors of her having an affair began to swirl fairly heavily. It later came out that Scooter had gone to great lengths to leverage his connections and his power in the media to catch and destroy stories surrounding his wife's affair for the past year, as this affair had allegedly been going on for a year at the point that he had filed for divorce. And I am very curious to know what his motives were for catching and destroying these stories. Was it to protect the woman he loved, or was it to protect his own ego? Throughout the midst of their divorce proceedings, it came to light that Scooter had allegedly had an affair with a cast member from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills named Erica Jane. This was a rumor that Erica Jane has always denied, but tabloids have seemed to find reason to think that this relationship was more than friendly. Isn't it shocking how much you can lose when your priorities and your ego are in the wrong place? But in present day, now that Scooter has retired from management entirely, he has become a very, very loud and proud supporter of Israel throughout their ongoing bombardment of Gaza. He has joined the Tiffany Haddish, Michael Rappaport, Deborah Messing crew who have been fully engaged in disseminating propaganda for over a year now. Scooter has even gone as far as to compare pro-Palestinian college protesters who were peacefully protesting on their own campus to German soldiers in the 40s, the four-letter N-word that I cannot say here. And this behavior is not something that has gone unnoticed. Like we talked about earlier, the company that Scooter Braun sold Ithaca Holdings to, Hybe, faced massive backlash from BTS superfans in the wake of Scooter's anti-Palestinian postings on social media. We remember after Scooter sold Ithaca Holdings to Hybe, he then took a seat on the board of Hybe Corporation and was named CEO of Hybe America. To my understanding, BTS fans who call themselves the Army decided they wanted to do something to protest the Zionism that was going on within the music industry. Back in February, the Korea Times reported that a group of BTS fans had hired an electric billboard truck to sit in front of the Hybe headquarters in central Seoul. The billboard demanded that Hybe divest from Zionism and Zionists who work in the music industry. It's also a continuous loop of video footage that displayed some of the horror and devastation that has occurred in Gaza throughout Israel's occupation. Now, I know a lot of people are curious about Scooter Braun's connections to P. Diddy, and a lot of you probably already clocked it in the very beginning when we talked about the connection between Scooter Braun and Usher and how they went to business together and really helped propel Justin Bieber into the spotlight. Well, not only was P. Diddy a supporter of Scooter Braun's now ex-wife organization F Cancer, you could really even say Scooter Braun and P. Diddy were friends. It's a picture from 2016 of Scooter Braun, Justin Bieber, Kanye West, and P. Diddy praying before one of Justin Bieber's shows. And like we talked about in part 1, Scooter's one singular skill was his ability to throw a party, similar to P. Diddy. So interesting because it feels like every crack and crevice and scandal in the industry, Scooter is somewhere close around. Like, think of all these A-list artists who have worked closely with him and have had all of these scandals and these breakdowns, and during those moments, where was Scooter? I mean, think about Justin Bieber when he was going through his health crisis and substance abuse crisis. Who was around? Not Scooter. That's when Scooter brought in Corey Gamble to be Justin Bieber's handler. At the end of the day, yes, he may have created some stars, but at the end of the day, this man did not do his job well. I would even argue that Scooter Braun negatively impacted his clients more than he was actually of help to them. Scooter Braun had a very serious job and a very serious responsibility, whether we want to recognize it or not. This man held a teenage boy's childhood in his hands and had the power to shape it into whatever he wanted it to be so that he could make the most money. He tried to make this 14-year-old child live the lifestyle of a 25-year-old man. It's going to have detrimental impacts to any young person's mental health. Scooter Braun took Justin Bieber and many other talented artists, decided that they were easily malleable and a quick way to line his pockets. At the end of the day, Scooter Braun is nothing more than a leech who has burned more bridges than he has built in his life. If there is one positive thing to come out of the music industry in 2024, it would be the exodus of Scooter Braun. Hopefully this was somewhat cohesive and understandable. That's all I have for you guys right now. I will see you guys in the next one.